Hey guys, it's Bang from Sentinels VALORANT team, and today I'll be giving you guys some tips on how to be a better controller player. I'd say a big part of being a controller player is just getting good smokes off at the right timings. I think obviously it helps your team, you're an anchor usually, and it helps your teams a lot, like your teammates a lot holding sights. A lot of your util is to help people hold sights and help people survive against sight hits. So just getting good smokes off at the correct times will just win your team rounds that you need to win. For example, like getting the B main smoke off whenever your teammates are telling you that they're executing B, or if they're about to hit B, you guys have some info, you feel like they're gonna go B, getting the smoke off to allow your teammates to fight up through spawn, through the stairs angle, and just like make them worry, have to like come out of a smoke. It's just really important. It's the basic things, but yeah, just getting smokes off at good timings is really important, and it's a big role on defense whenever you play any map. So my mindset when it comes to anchoring on defense, a lot of the time is to make sure I'm able to stay alive for long enough and stall for long enough for my teammates to rotate in. Obviously it depends on the situation, if your teammates are close enough to rotate and if not. But sometimes throwing smokes on yourself on site, like this is a pretty good smoke whenever you're trying to defend A site on ascent, to just stay around and live and make sure that like you're not dying too quickly so your teammates have the opportunity to flood onto you. Getting the blinds out against executes is really important. Just using your util basically to live and to give yourself favorable engagements around the site, because obviously they're going to be throwing a lot of their util to try to clear you out of the site. So just countering that by throwing side smokes to live, blinding the choke in order to stop executes, just the basic things like that. So one example of playing pretty well off your teammates' utility and just off your teammates in general is like setting up good flashes for them. It's pretty basic knowing like the correct smokes to throw, I'd say. If you're trying to learn how to throw smokes correctly or like get good smokes for executes, you just watch any like professional Omen player or a professional controller player's VODs, and they'll probably show you like the best, most common smokes for like whatever execute you guys are trying to run or whatever strat you guys are trying to run. But I think more complex stuff is just like knowing what util to throw, like when it comes to your flash. I think this is a lot more like important to know when to throw, like when is the best time to throw it and how to throw it. So a lot of the times if you're running, if your teammates are running maybe like a Tejo, maybe like a Sova, some kind of initiator that gets info for you, maybe like a fade, a lot of the times throwing your util or throwing your blind off of their like drone util, whether it's a fade prowler, Sova drone, Tejo drone, basically targeting your blind off of their util is really important. I mean, it'll just improve your blinds in general because you're actually blinding off of what their drone or prowler sees. So like for example, maybe you're going for an A split and your Sova is droning A main and they see them either in wine or like in the choke. You can just like hold your blind out, wait for their drone to scan them, and if he sees them on the drone, pings them, you just blind and you can speed up on like an A split. Is a pretty decent example of how to like maximize your util or specifically your blind when you're playing Omen. I think there's a lot of like common things every controller player knows are good, like on a map. You'll go through a lot of routines on your util. Like you'll have like the idea of like, okay, when I play this map, for example, like when I play Ascent, I know that this one way is pretty high value a lot of the time because losing this play, this is pretty good value to throw a smoke like this and kind of deny their orb and this control in general when you throw them off rip. So you're gonna get when you play enough controller, you get into these routines of like, okay, I throw smokes in the beginning of the round. If you play like Omen specifically, I'll be throwing this one way a lot at the beginning of the round in order to deny a main info and kind of just like contest it. Is just like, those are like the routines you get into. But like you should know what utility is best for your agent on the specific map, and like you'll get to know that with how much you play. So a lot of time when you're playing on Ascent, on Omen and specifically, you're not really towards B too often. Sometimes you are, depending on the setup. When you're playing B on Ascent, or like you are playing, try to help your teammates hold B on Ascent. Like obviously I already mentioned this B main smoke is really important in order to like stop executes and kind of stop them at the choke. Because once they get through here and start scaling into like this area, into like this boathouse zone and all this area basically, is when like just kind of like any kind of, I mean, well, once they get through this choke, it's just harder for you guys to defend against it. But if you, they all eventually, unless they're splitting, if they are just executing B, this smoke is obviously very important. But I think in general, when you a lot of times when you're playing Omen on a map like Ascent, and you are trying to let your teammates live on the site, if you aren't playing B, giving smokes, bunker smokes are really important. So a smoke like this, it would be considered a bunker smoke. Allows your teammates to live onto the site. Maybe they can play around the smoke. They can play backside and not play in the smoke and just kind of like make the enemy team use you till they clear the smoke and make them think that you're in the smoke, when in reality they could be like going for a peek stairs or trying to like play like to take these fights around the smoke. But like the biggest thing is when you know an exec's happening and they've already broken the choke, giving your teammates bunker smokes is very high value and really important whenever you're trying to help your teammates anchor a bomb site, like on a map like Ascent. So with like ZOWIE monitors in general, I feel like you can get high hertz, high ZOWIE monitors, which like 360 hertz. These kind of monitors I've gotten really used to, and really help me like have the fastest response time to like anything happening on my screen. So when I play on like 360 hertz as opposed to like when I was playing on 144 hertz or 60 hertz, it's a lot easier to just react even when you're taking normal gun duels and gunfights, and just basically it gives you advantage over other people who are on ZOWIE monitors and aren't on the like your hertz level. But like if I get higher FPS, I'm able to like just see the game clear, and then just it gives you a significant advantage compared to other monitors. So I think Diac's motion clarity is something like I've already been using for like 2-3 years, and honestly I can't really like, I've tried playing without it. If I have to, I've tried playing without it, it just doesn't feel as good. I personally feel like the smoothness that the Diac offers is like really important for me, and I've gotten so used to it to the point that I feel like playing without it would probably hinder me pretty much. And I mean honestly, it's all personal preference, but at the end of the day, but I do think it does help, and it's a feature that I feel like if you have a ZOWIE monitor, you should try it at the very least. A big thing whenever you're playing Omen specifically as well, a good tip to do in order to get info and just maximize your ability when you throw smokes is instead of smoking like on the ground like I just did, or like throwing a smoke like this, like just straight on the ground, I'll throw like dropping smokes basically. So to show you an example, like if your teammates don't know if they're B main, but they feel like they could be walking, maybe they're like looking for a pick on your teammates, or trying to walk out and like peek these angles and try to kill them, your B anchors. Giving them a smoke like this, instead of throwing it just straight on the ground where it doesn't give you any info and just blocks their vision, you could be throwing like dropping smokes like this. Cover going out. When you throw a smoke like this, it makes it so you can see their feet, and on their screen, their heads are just in the smoke, so they can't see anything. They realize that it's a dropping smoke, they'll probably jump around and move away, but it just gives your teammate, it gives you info, and it also just smokes them off, and there's no risk to it. So it's a really important and easy tip that I really recommend everyone starts doing. It's just super basic, like just throw the smoke a little bit higher than the ground, and then you just peek with it as it loads in, and you can see their feet. Just don't throw it too high, like I kind of messed it up there, but if you throw it like high enough, a little bit above the ground, you can see their feet and they can't see anything, and it gives you info, and it's just like the better way to throw the smoke, honestly. There's no reason not to do it. Okay guys, so that's it for the esports tips and tricks. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and thank you guys for watching my ZOWIE esports class.